Everybody, thank you for hanging out. Coast to Coast Comics is live, man. This is it. This is the place to be right now, man, for many reasons, because this show is consistent. Not only that, we have a good time, man. We bring guests here. We have Rod the Rican. We always have Perry Comics. That's why I'm so nervous, man. That's why I'm so nervous. But we always have Perry Comics in the house. Jeffrey Comahan Hansen will be joining us shortly, hopefully. And of course, here it is, man.
Oh, it's me.
Tom.
Yeah, I'm here.
101 is in the house.
What's going on?
Before we get to you, Tom, hold on. Perry, how you been, sir?
I've been pretty good, man. You know, we had a fun stream last night. We killed it for a couple hours, and I woke up this morning. I got to sleep in a little bit. Finally, I got some sleep, and I'm hanging out with you guys.
All right. Well,
sounds like a good day to me.
Yeah.
And Mr. Tom, how you been, sir?
Dude, I've been good, man. I've been my weekend is filled with making content. So I'm just got done with Fire Guy Ryan. He just left the house, and we recorded our podcast for tomorrow that I got to edit all night and get ready for the community because we try to do that every Sunday now. We started this fun project of releasing a longer form of content every Sunday that's available on YouTube for consumption, but as well as like Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, for the audio only versions. And I find that it's really motivating for me because the response I've gotten has been largely, I'm using this podcast. I'm listening to it while hunting. I'm using it while bagging and boarding, things like that. So
driving to work.
Exactly. Like doing things that I'm doing. So I'm like, I got to get this out on Sunday. I got to make sure it's ready for the community to consume over the week. So that's really been my grind. I get the top 10 out on Fridays, which is it's a good chunk of editing that I got to do there. And then within a couple of days, I try to get this podcast all ready. And that's my night for tonight. But I'm here hanging out with my homies right now.
Man, you kicked Fire Guy running out the house, man. That's what you did, man.
No, he's sleeping, man. He's sleeping. He works like midnight or something. He works those late shifts. So I get him right after he gets off of work at like 7. He's like, Tom, I got to get out of here by 2 because I got to go to sleep.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I do a show with him and John's Comics for Kids, and he missed it last week because the alarm didn't go off and he slept right through it.
Yeah, I gotta give him some grace.
Before we move forward, let's acknowledge everyone in the house right now, man. Yo, Troublemaker Comics in the house. What's going on, brother? Thank you for hanging out. Discovery Bay, JB in the house. An awesome member in the community. I collect a lot in the house. Bodega Comics, que pasa, bro? Yo, and I collect a lot. Nani MF Comics, Chad is in the house. What's going on, Chad? Be safe over there in Miami, man. The storm is coming. We're going to get hit. Yo, here it is. Comic Jabroni in the house. CTT. Comic Triple Threat. We are in fact right now, something like that. But anyway, Ben Compton, what's going on? Joe 47771. Shady Cakes in the house. Thank you, dear. As always, she is always hanging out with us. Ago Ramos, que pasa, bro? Thank you for hanging out. This is Coast Coast Comics. Yo, let's rock and roll, man.
Yo.
Oh, geez, that was a lot of talking.
You done, Rod? That was it?
No, that's a wrap.
We gotta keep going, man. Yo, ComicTom has been rocking out lately, man. So not only that, he's been putting out great stuff. He been working out. Not only that, he been dropping out a new his channel, man. Is ComicTom101.com. Yo, that's pretty dope, man. You bringing people in the community to work with you. Yo, and I'm loving it. You want to take a second to talk about that and how that you woke up one morning and said, you know what, I want to make my own website, and there it is. And then you got Reggie, John, you got Joe Ryan, you got a bunch of people doing stuff, man. You know what? Shout outs to all those guys. Those are great people in the community, and you know what? That is fire, dude. That is fire.
Hey, I appreciate you taking notice. It was kind of a fun little undertaking over the last couple of weeks. We had some changes to the channel, and 2 weeks ago, it's been like a month now, and we started working with Key Collector Comics. Nick over there, we partnered up, and he's providing our show with a lot of great analytics and a lot of providing advice and giving us a lot of opportunity in this community. And one of the things that I wanted to do is, aside from revamp our channel and really grow some of the things that have been working and that the community enjoys, I wanted to provide a little bit more than that. So I thought, all right, well, I haven't really put a whole lot of time into my website, and because of the new direction of the channel, I wanted to make that happen. So the idea was I want to offer quality content to the community, but at the same time, I want to also provide that content by people other than my members of my show, and my friends. I wanted to give other content creators an opportunity that I've befriended in the community and that are also showing a lot of hustle and providing unique content for this comic book community. So the idea was, all right, I'm going to start a blog. I'm going to start a website and produce content. So aside from myself and, we got the Guru dropping Golden Age articles. We got Mill Geek, who runs an LCS. So Russ is providing a lot of that, like, oh, this was recalled. We're going to make sure that article gets posted so everyone knows what's going on. Here's a copy of the email that was sent to the LCS. Is like the stuff that you would traditionally have to rely on these other websites that have been doing it for years. Well, we're going to do the same thing. The only difference is our website is going to be filled with a lot more than just that. And why this is exciting is that rather than just pumping out a bunch of just random articles from people you don't know, which is fine, but a lot of that doesn't really get anywhere, and it doesn't do much for the website or the particular journalists that are largely just volunteering on a lot of these sites that exist. I went through and I wanted to reverse engineer it. I want to find people who already have a reach, who are already providing value to the community, lift them up, and maybe we can all work together here on this one platform. So I went and got Gem Mint. He's a homie of mine. And he's producing exclusive articles on the site. We got TiVo from Lords of the Long Box producing exclusive exclusive content on the site. No comics yet.
No comics
next
yet.
year. We're working on that, but no comics yet. Just exclusive comics. But we also have Anna Reed's. We have Certified Comic Shop, Comics with Bueller, Joe Ryan Comics, Reggie Collects, my whole team. Fire Guy Ryan's doing unique content. And one other thing that I wanted to really focus on was how do we get not just quality content, the content that's ready for mass consumption that we can be proud of. My brand's on here. I'm lifting these. I'm showcasing these content creators. We want to make sure that everything's really polished, right? Because none of us have a whole lot of experience in this space. So I have Fire Guy Ryan as well as John from John's Comics with Kids as our editors, and John's
he's a freaking
teacher, and Fire Guy has his degree. So I'm all right, we have all of these being proofread and being edited so that whatever is being consumed by the community, you're getting the best content we can deliver. And I can say, at least right there, that puts us miles ahead of some of the legit mainstream competition who don't even proofread their damn stuff.
Whoa, there it is. Don't proofread. You know what? There's one thing you're missing though, Tom.
What am I missing?
I'm going to tell you right now. Comic Triple Threat, man.
Ooh,
Triple Threat. We're just hanging out. But
you're doing good.
We do our Tuesday show. That's our main squeeze right there. The buyer pass, what to pick up, what to drop on New Comic Book Day.
Well, hit me up after the show. We'll get you some admin credentials, and then you can start writing something up. Written content, man. I'm happy to host anything from people who are hustling in the community and putting their time into it.
Oh, yeah.
Man, Comic Tom is the effing man in the house, yo.
That's a lot, right? I just said a lot. It's a lot of stuff. We bring all these people together. It's good stuff.
You're rocking, dude. You know what? It's just getting started. And I would never forget that. I would never when you did that, I was like, I just told my wife, I was like, you gotta sit down for a minute. I showed her the phone. And when you did that video, that was so dope, man. That was so dope. The community loved it. I did. Perry did too. I mean, there's no reason to talk about it. That's water under the bridge. And you know what?
Oh man, if you want to talk about it, I haven't actually shared that story.
Oh, go ahead.
You want to know how that video came to be?
Oh yeah.
That minute, that last 30 seconds.
All right. Here it is.
It's so funny you say, because so I've had. Oh no, put me on the. I want to be on the screen with everybody. I like to be able to see our faces. So yeah, so it was a really, really big grind for 2 days. That section of the video, that ending, that was one take, and that was. And if you haven't seen the video, it was a top 10. The first top 10 that was that was sponsored by Key Collector Comics. And basically what happened is the transition from the former partnership that I had ended that morning on Thursday. I found out the day of that I was going to be that we're parting ways, not my choice. And that was the day that I typically film the video, and I have people who come over, you know, Russ does his thing, and we're up till like 1 or 2 in the morning filming, so that the next day at like 7 I can start the edit, because that video takes 6+ hours to put together. And that's if we don't make a mistake, which I make mistakes all the time. So I'm having to like redo scenes, and that's a little insight to the editing process. There's stuff you see in my videos that if there's something like I had to redo because we made a mistake, I said the wrong price, I said the wrong artist, I don't know, like this is happening at like midnight after hours of work.
You can't even tell. I mean,
well, yeah.
You can never tell. I mean, honestly,
music to my ears, man, because there are shots in videos we have where I'm pretending that Russ is there. He's not there. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, we didn't even say the price. Not yet. Not even, man. It's full on like, oh shoot, I gotta fix this. All right, what did I wear? I gotta go get that shirt, iron it back out. I didn't even think about it. Redo the hair. Where's the hat that I wore? And then I go in and get that 15-second shot, you know? So anyways, it's a process. So what I'm saying is, like, Thursday when we found out that, hey, we have no list coming essentially, and we got to figure out like what we're going to do. We're going to stop doing the top 10 list. Well, no. So what are we going to do instead? So we teamed up with Key Collector that day, and he had already started sponsoring the show. So it was really easy to get things kind of rolling, but it was all within that day. I was running on maybe 4 hours at the time that this happened. So what I ended up doing is that next day it was hustle. I was like dedicated, because the only thing that I was seeing on the internet, the only thing was a lot of negativity, like so much negativity. I couldn't even post on Instagram because my DMs were so stacked of people asking me questions, because they were like, this went south, this is bad. The way that it rolled out was not my choosing. None of it was my choosing. It actually did exactly the opposite of what I wanted them to do, let alone how it turned out. Doesn't matter at this point. We're on to different things. Literally everything's good. However, I had to get these videos turned out real quick. So I went in that Friday and I'm like, screw it. I don't care if I don't have any sleep. I'm going to get this list done. We're going to get this list done. We're going to get this edited. I'm going to get this released, and we're going to do it like the earliest I've ever done it. And we did. So that ending was after, like, in 2 days, maybe 7 hours total worth of sleep, and redoing a whole show. And then immediately after that was like, okay, video's out. Now I need to start the best comic book website that exists. And then here we are. We have like an amazing team. And we've seen a 40% increase across the board in our reach and our growth. And yeah, a big part of that is Key Collector Comics, the best comic book app that exists on the market.
Well said. Well said. Perry, you have anything to comment what Tom just said? Or
oh man, I know it's all water under the bridge, but that seems like messed up that Thursday to just drop that. That seems so intentional to sabotage you to promote somebody else to drop the list. So if you're not going to drop it that week, that seems so crazy to me.
You know, hey,
it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
And the channel that ended up picking it up, big fans of those guys. Yep. Jack's a homie. They're great. They're also not doing the top 10 anymore either.
But you know what? I have to say, I mean, you know what? I watch everything. You know, it may take me a while to read a book. It may take me a while to watch a video. But you know what? Your content, sir, you guys, man, Guru, Russ, Fire Guy, you guys are amazing. And you know what? That's why you have so many people that watch your stuff, and it speaks for itself, should I say. So, you know, before we move forward, and we could take over from that, but let's look at the chat, man. People popping on here. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what we left off at. Bordigan Comics, what's going on? Zelos in the house. Rob Worse in the house. What's going on, Rob? No more jury duty for you, sir. You're hanging out with us, man. Just a little podcast from West Palm, Florida. Thank you. Be safe over there in Florida, man. As myself and Perry. Poor Mike, another Floridian, man.
Yep.
JIB Comics, what's going on, man? Steve Whiting, another furry. What's going on? The comic collector in the house. And Agus Ramos is always there. Chino Comics and more. Chino, thank you for hanging out with us, man. We really do appreciate that. And great job for your comic book shop over there in it's somewhere in Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong. Scrolling down here. And
hey, One God Tank found a Devil Dinosaur #1 today. Heck yeah, that's Kirby goodness right there.
Sweet, sweet. All right. So, Tom, I was just curious, man. When you met Chris Claremont, man, that was well, when you did the interview, should I say, that was probably like, I can only imagine meeting, like, I met Jim Lee just for a signing, but man, when you sat there with Chris Claremont, what was that, man? Was you like shitting?
The whole time. I was pooping the whole interview.
I hope it wasn't.
I'm crapping myself right now.
I'm being real right now, hanging out with Tom, hanging out with Pierre, the whole chat. Yo, hanging
it was
out.
a good time, man. It was awesome.
Was he nervous? Was he like, oh my god,
man? No, I'm not too nervous about it because it's Chris, dude. Like I've watched so many interviews that man's done that I knew what I was expecting. I didn't expect him to not like care very much about the situation, about like he's done it so many times. And I would say like that would be the biggest thing is like I kind of expected it not to go the way that I planned. And I told Bueller, I'm like, yo, we got to go into this well, like way over prepared. However, it's probably like we're gonna get maybe 10% of our 10% of our questions are gonna probably be answered, if that. And I made 2 videos on what was an hour-long conversation on stage, and I think we only showed maybe 15 minutes of it because there's like 45 minutes of just I honestly I didn't want to take the time to edit it. I just didn't think it was very valuable. He didn't make himself look great on camera. Maybe he didn't respond to the questions directly, and he just didn't answer things. Like, it's just being the content creator, I'm like, all right, how do I make these people look the absolute best I can on camera? And I do my best to bring good questions, to have maybe props, do something unique to get them talking. But in that case, it was a struggle. He was late to the interview, and we had this big old crowd, and Bueller and I found out that we were interviewing him 3 hours or so before we even were on stage. We got there and we're like, oh, we may be able to do a private interview with Chris. And then within 20 minutes of us talking, we find out, oh no, you thought it was a private interview. It's not. It's actually the headlining Q&A for the whole convention. And you're going to be on stage. And Bueller's going to be there too.
Freaking crazy.
So we were like, oh my gosh. All right, Bueller. So I'm like, we're at the other end of the convention by ourselves on our phones. Like, all right, what didn't he make? What didn't he do in X-Men? And we're just trying to figure out what's a good question? How can we get him talking? And we just had a bunch of stuff. And then we were on stage and have this big old crowd of people in front of us. And then 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, 15 minutes go by. And Bueller and I are literally on stage so I have a YouTube channel, ComicTom101, and this is my buddy Bueller. And Bueller's like, I'm Bueller, he's doing his thing. And we're just trying to entertain the crowd. All right, anyone know what a Mark Bueller variant is? It's my shirt, and try to see who knows comic book collecting. Does anyone have any questions for Chris? You can try. We're trying to just get good and try to get him excited because
here we are online, nervous. I'm nervous. But damn, Tom is out there in the freaking public, right in front of people.
Standing in front of everybody. And I got, and we got cameras and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if we can use any of this content. I'm just doing my best. And then he walks in because he realized that he was late. He walks in and the dude's eating a cookie. And in the first video, you can check it out. It's I titled it. It's a Chris Claremont interview. If you type it on my channel, you'll find it. But he sits down and he's eating a cookie and he doesn't stop eating the cookie. We're sitting there. We're like, we gotta go. He was headlining. He was no, he wasn't. He wasn't the last. He wasn't the last session of the con. The Mallrats peeps were there after, the Jay and Silent Bob, Jason Mewes, and all them. They were the ones that were doing it after us. They were using our space, and he was 15 minutes late. So we were told, you gotta be out. You have to be out of there by 6 o'clock because they're going to be using from 6 on until they're done. And we're not cutting Jason Mewes off. So they're like, Chris has got to be out of here by this time. So we're 15 minutes in and this dude's like he's so slow, like sitting down and he's like slunched over like this in front of all these people. And he's just like eating his cookie, just eating a cookie. And we're like, all right, Chris Claremont is here. So we did it and it was great. It was great, but a lot of the thing with that interview is that we were just kind of rolling with him. He had his own thing to say. I think we directly asked him. I have the footage. Directly asked him questions, probably like 8 questions, and he answered none of them. Really didn't answer none of them, except for one. And that's the second video that I made, which was about a Marvel team up that he did for the SNL at the time, the not ready for primetime players, but what later turned into Saturday Night Live people, Bill Murray and all that. And I asked him about that. How did that comic come to be? How did you meet all these people? What was that like? And he gave a really good story. But that story was at the 6 o'clock time. These people that were running the convention were in the back and they're looking at me like, oh man. Like Bueller is there and Bueller's like, he's being super nice and he's like, well, like giving me eyes like, oh, we got to be done. And I'm thinking here, this wasn't that great. Like I'm just being honest. You can look up interviews from all kinds of content creators. So me saying that he didn't perform great in front of a bunch of people, it doesn't really matter because like he's done hundreds and hundreds of these things. But I'm sitting there going, we got like nothing. Like there was like a whole lot of this that was just him kind of complaining. A lot of because he had just seen the Dark Phoenix movie. Like he saw it. So you can tell, and we have footage from it. He's like, he didn't want to give his opinion, but he wanted to just complain about like how there's just no thought process that goes into storytelling in the Marvel MC, specifically in the X-Men franchises. And I threw out that last question. I'm like, no, I'm going to ask him this one thing. I have to know about this comic book. And he went on like 20 minutes later than he was granted. And we made the Mallrats people move to a different part of the convention. They had to take the whole thing and move it. Like we made Jason Mewes move for Chris Claremont so I can make that video happen. It's a long explanation for this whole thing, but yeah, it was a great time. Chris is awesome. And I tried to highlight, I think, the most exciting stuff that he chatted about. And the other stuff, I mean, it's already been said, a lot of stuff he's already been asked. So I felt like, oh, that's already on the internet. Let me find some unique stuff for the community.
But it's pretty neat though. I mean, Perry he did an interview with who was it? Perry from Osaka.
The creators of here I got it right here. Samurai Grandpa.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a new Source Point Press book. The artist is incredible, but yeah, no, it was cool. I just reached out. I like the book. I reached out to them, and here's an interview.
Yeah.
So it's just like
that's how. I'm sorry, Perry.
No, I think it's just cool. Like I feel like you go on YouTube and you see so many interviews on so many big creators or small creators, and they have like 2 views. Like I seen an interview with Alex Ross that had 2 views, and the camera was terrible, the audio was terrible. I'm like, it's nice to see someone interview somebody and have a decent production, put time and effort into it to bring it and showcase it to so many people who want to see this content. Make it palatable.
That's the there's a reason why. I mean, I've been doing this kind of stuff on YouTube for a little over 1.5 years now, but you can count the number of interviews I've done probably on one hand, and even the ones that I would consider interviews, I bet the creators wouldn't even consider them. Like there's a interview that I did with Donny Cates, for example, at the last Emerald City Comic-Con, and that was all about me giving him a copy of Carnage Mind Bomb because I wanted to get his raw reaction to talking about this book.
And it was raw too when he got it.
It was. And that whole thing was coordinated and planned. Like if you watch the video, it looks like, hey, we just met each other and Tom's giving him a comic book. That's cool that we got that shot. And then we go into this whole thing. What you don't see is that I knew that he was going to be there. I had to buy that comic book before I went. I knew he didn't have it because I did my research for it. We had to scout him to find out when he was going to be there. And then I also had to wait on the other side of the convention after like telling him, yo, I got a gift for you. I'm going to come back. Is that okay? And then we waited for him to take a picture with people because he would always come out and take pictures with people. So I said, okay, Slav, you need to stand right there. because as soon as he comes around and he does those pictures, I'm going to come from the other direction and I'm going to meet you right here. And you can get that shot of me giving him the comic book.
Heck yeah.
And he's not going to know he's being filmed. And we're going to get permission after the fact. So he actually gives us what's in his head. I don't want Carnage Mind Bomb. I want Donnie Cates Mind Bomb about Carnage Mind Bomb. And that's what we got. But you don't see any of that stuff. You just see the interaction because we have cameras on our chest that are really small. And unless you like really know that you're being filmed, we can get like some raw content in those types of situations, as long as we get permission from the creators, obviously, which we did. Donnie was totally fine with it. But it's kind of what you said, Perry, going out of our way. That's a major example to try to make the content super interesting, because if you can't hear them, that's already going to be difficult. You're in a convention, it's loud. And then you got to like cut through the stuff that you think isn't going to be worth people's time. Like, people don't have time. People don't even take the time to read their comic books, let alone listen to their interviews about the content creators. So I look for a way to highlight the most important parts of the conversation. All the interviews that I do, if you see a 10-minute interview, that interview is probably 35 minutes long. If it was like Chris Claremont, where we had 2 videos that totaled 20, like I said, it was an hour, over an hour's long conversation. I go through and I cut out and I make those decisions of, we only have so much time to entertain people. I got to give the community the biggest bang for their buck, and then take the time to make the content creator sound as best as possible. And I risk it sometimes because I'm the guy to go out and be like, you know what? This particular content creator says like every other word. So I'm going to take the time to cut that out as much as I can. And you know what? I've only been thanked. I've only been said, hey, you made me sound really good. You made me sound like I knew what I was talking about in that moment when I was actually thinking about it as I was rolling. And that's just what we do. I do that on our main show as well. You know, I try to just do a lot of, what's going on with my hair here? Do a lot of editing and just try to make everyone sound the best they can and put that extra, few minutes into Adobe.
It's very true though, what you're saying, because there it is. I'm one of those guys that would do that a lot, and I felt like, you know what, my editing skills, I need to work on it a lot more than like certain people in the community, like Perry Comics, Edwin the Comic Jabroni. They put the work in their videos, man. They edit the stuff, and you know what? I wish I had that much time, but then I got the wifey out there like, well, if you're gonna be online half the time, then why are you gonna make a video? I'm like, well, babe, well, I need content, I gotta be consistent. And she was like, well, then fine. But you know what? It's pretty neat, and it's very true, man. What you said, man, it's very true, man. You gotta put that edit, and man,
you just gotta it's the time, you gotta make the time, or just be realistic with what you're able to devote yourself to, because you may not have enough time to edit a 6-hour video. You can do a quick live stream, but I promise you, on Instagram, you can probably make videos there. They're a minute long is how much time you have. So, I mean, there's other platforms that you could devote that little time you have a bit more. And then overall, you're actually producing more content. You're just being smarter about what you put out. Unless you do it full time, then you should be doing everything, which is what we're trying to do.
All right, well said, sir. Perry, we'll jump to you, Perry, in a few seconds here. Let's jump back into the chat. C.3 Comics in the house. What is going on? Bait the Snake, another Floridian, man. Whoa. In Florida, people popping up, man.
Oh, yeah.
Tacoma Comics, what's up, man? I've already mentioned just a little podcast. Glitter and duct tape. What's going on, my friend? And see here, poor Mike. David SNMC in the house. What's going on, man? People are popping up. I hope everyone's having a great day, man. A great Saturday, great night, wherever you at, across the pond. It doesn't matter, man. But we're just hanging out here with my homie Perry Comics, as always. Our special guest is ComicTom101. If you don't know him already, man, what is wrong with you? All you gotta do is hit Comic Tom on YouTube. His name is gonna pop up. Not only him, Fire Guy Ryan, everybody over there in freaking what is it?
ComicTom101, the Bags and Boards show.
What, the Bag and Board show? And then there it is, man.
That's what it is, man.
I want to plug Russ, but I just forgot his.
Oh, Mill Geek Comics.
There it is.
Mill Geek.
Can't forget Mill.
Yes.
And the Golden Guru, man. The Golden Guru.
The Golden Age Guru is an awesome dude. That dude knows his stuff. That's for sure.
He knows this. Wow, he is. All right, man. Let's. I'm gonna do something a little different here, man. I'm gonna call it a rapid fire. First time ever. Rapid fire, man. Here it is, man. Get ready.
All right, who's this coming to? It's going to Perry?
We can do Perry. And then
Perry and me. I've been talking this whole time.
All right, Perry.
Sounds like I need a break.
Rapid fire, Perry.
Oh,
you
great.
first, and then you can hit me with the rapid fire.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, yeah.
He wants to be hit with rapid fire, Perry. He's like, you can hit me after I hit you. My mom said you can come over for a sleepover, but you need to bring your own controller this time because the joystick doesn't work.
Are you a gamer? Are you a gamer, Tom?
Oh yeah, man. Of course. Not as much.
What do you play though? I just got back into World of Warcraft, and I feel like I put YouTube and comics on hold for like the last week.
Oh, I wish I could do that. No, man, I haven't played anything in a while, but I got Resident Evil on deck on my computer. I got a new computer in the last 4 months, which is why we've been pumping out a lot more content. And now that I have a good computer, I'm like, okay, let me get Steam pulled up. I got Resident Evil on deck. I want to play that #2 remake. Oh, but no, I haven't played much at all. And I'm thinking if I want to, I'm probably gonna have to build something into our channel where I can stream it and make content out of it. Otherwise, I don't know, man. I'm super lame. Me, at this point, if I want to have some downtime and I want a break, for me, and I'm hanging out with my friends and stuff, and they're like, let's have a break, have some drinks, let's go out and have fun, let's go to the bar or something. And I'm like, my break is going through DMs on Instagram, I'm chatting with comic people.
These are
doing this kind of stuff, and it's all a comic book thing. I'm going on eBay, dude. I'm like, well, let me look at some comic books, it's all the same shit. So anyways, Perry, rapid fire.
Oh boy.
Rapid fire, Perry. 5 questions right now. Villain, movie, writer, artist, favorite food. All right.
Why is that one question?
Favorite villain right now.
Lobo.
Oh, there you
go.
Lobo.
Movie of all time, just not comic category.
Movie.
I'm thinking of the Titanic. I don't know why.
Great. Writer.
Tomasi.
Titanic.
Artist.
Ross.
Food.
Quesadilla.
There it is, man.
That's cool,
That's called rapid fire. Here it is. Tom is ready.
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right.
Oh man.
Feel it, Tom.
I want to hear the chat too. What your rapid fire is as we do ours. Listen to what he says.
All right, guys. Let the people know right now in the chat. This is rapid fire, guys.
Let's do it. Just the first thing that comes to your mind.
First thing that comes to your mind, and people are dropping stuff, man. Back to the Future. We got cheeseburger. Perry doesn't watch movies. There it is, man.
Yeah, Perry's like Titanic. Let's not forget this.
Hey, John's Comics for Kids started a whole series on the education of Perry where we just watch movies. So yes, I do not watch many movies.
Come on, man. It's gonna get a lot better. It's gonna get a lot better. Then we're talking about Tom's tattoos. I saw somebody.
I got some tattoos.
Yeah, we know that. We know that. He knows the thing about tattoos because he's got them on his body. But you know what? All right, Tom. Rapid fire.
Where else would I have them?
Where else would he get tattoos, Ron?
He collects tattooed skin. Just other people's skin.
He goes to graveyards and starts cutting out skin.
He shots fired up the right, man. Yo, all right. Rapid fire, Tom.
Rapid fire, let's do it. Favorite villain?
Yes, sir.
Let's go with Penguin.
Movie.
Favorite movie right now? It changes, but Hereditary.
Writer.
Changes, but I would say Brian K. Vaughan typically, but Matt Fraction, I'm like, oh damn, everything he's doing is good.
Gotta pick one, man. Gotta pick one right now.
But I say Brian K. Vaughan right now.
All right. Artist.
Mignola. Living or dead?
Doesn't matter. All time. Like your favorite.
Mignola. Right? We'll just say Mignola.
All right. And your favorite food when riding on a skateboard. I'm throwing. You see,
I have to be riding on a skateboard because
you don't have to, but I see you doing videos. Dropping off the hot 10 list and all this stuff.
Yeah, no, so I got to take it.
I don't know how you fell down doing that video, but anyway, favorite food.
Favorite food. I'll go with banh mi right now. I'm really digging those Vietnamese sandwiches. pickled stuff, pickled onions, pickled carrots, and all that. It's all good.
All right. People talking about
Deathstroke, hell yeah.
Chris Claremont, Pulp Fiction. Yo, they're just talking about movies and Juggernaut. Yo, and let's see what's going on. Deathstroke, Face Off, Donny Cates. Yo, people just commenting. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. All right. And they were asking about your tats, sir. I know you got Mr. Is it Plastic Man around your arm there somewhere?
Yeah, I got Plastic Man here. Oh, yeah, it's Plastic Man. He's all wrapped around.
Who, Plastic Man or Mr. Fantastic?
Whoa, good questions. Good questions.
Oh man,
no competition.
No competition.
People who say Mr. Fantastic just don't know Plastic Man.
I had like 80 people say Mr. Fantastic, and I
think
think under 10 people said Plastic Man. I'm like, oh man, it's like a popularity contest at this point.
You know what? You know what's a really good way to get introduced to Plastic Man if you want something like modern and brand new? Check out the Injustice annual. I think it's annual number 1, and it's like Plastic Man's son gets abducted, and we got to find him, and Batman and them are like, oh, we need to go do this. And someone brings up like, oh, but we got, Plastic Man is coming too. And we're worried about, it's like, but it's just Plastic Man. So it's no big deal. And Bruce Wayne's like, oh, no, it is a big deal. And it's like, you see like the elite JLA and they're like, oh, no. These guys don't know. Like, that's a big deal. Like if Plastic Man's involved, like it's funny. Yeah, it's all funny. It's Plastic Man, right? But you gotta take this seriously. And sure enough, like you do. Like Plastic Man he's like comedic relief, but he is a surprisingly powerful character. And yeah, Plastic Man is overpowered. He basically is overpowered. And he's been like, there's stories where he's like legit. They're like, oh, he can't be destroyed. Like he's immortal. Like he's like more immortal than Immortal Hulk, kind of. We may find out here pretty soon if that's not the case. But
so you said Injustice Annual, was that number 1?
Yeah, I think it's the annual number 1. It's like a one-shot story, but it's all about him and getting his son.
There it is, man. Comic Tom just dropping knowledge. I write stuff down when I want to read something, and that's how I do, man.
And it's from the Golden Age, which is cool, and
that's right up my alley. The Golden Age stuff. Psych. But one day I'm gonna get there. One day I'm gonna get to the Golden Age stuff, man.
You always land. Hey, one thing I can say, man, I've been in this industry for a long time since I was a little kid. I'm young. I'm pretty young, but I can say like I grew up around this stuff. Like I was moving long boxes at like 6 years old, 7 years old. Probably when I shouldn't have been. Probably needed help at that point. But since way back when, it's across the board. People who get into collecting comics, they end up gold eventually. And you can. So you can argue all you want that you love the silver and that you're going to be dying silver, loving all that kind of stuff. Mark my words, there will be one day where you hold a Golden Age comic and you're going to be like, oh, damn. What do I need? What do I not need anymore in the Silver Age so I can get this old, good stuff? Because, like, man, something about gold, dude. It's different. It's different.
I think I'll see it at the conventions and stuff like that. I'll look at him like, wow, and our wife will look at me and be like, why are you looking at him? It's like, well, why not? It's very true what you just said. And
I'll go Ramos in the chat said Plastic Man sales just jumped up 300%.
Plastic Man's dope, dude. There's so much good stuff there. But no, he's definitely underrated. I mean, there's a reason why I got him tattooed.
Heck yeah.
And I gotta say too, of all my tattoos, that is the one that gets the most like low key respect from the because I'm working in a traditionally older market. A lot of these guys that I look at as like my best friends in the industry, my peers, they're like all double my age. They've been doing this since like the 80s and the 70s, or even some of them earlier than that. Like we're part of the boom of what is the comic book industry, and they don't stop me for Hellboy. I got Lion Cat on my arm. They don't say anything about my Dark Knight Returns tattoos. They're like, oh, you got Plastic Man? Nice. Like they know.
So when you were when I know Donny Cates got a bunch of tats too, did he question your tats or anything like that? Just out of curiosity.
No, not really. I was focused on getting him talking.
Okay.
Rod thinks people with tattoos all like recognize each other and they're like, "Hey, let me see what you got on your arm."
Hey, take your shirt off, man. I gotta see your tats.
Look who's in the house. The legends in the house. What's going on? And not only that, we got Connecticut Comics in the house. What's going on? Yo, actually, when I met Donnie Case, I was like just nervous as hell. What book was it? It was that Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah.
And then I gave him the book. My wife is behind me, and I was like, "Thank you, sir, for what you've been doing." And he was like, "Oh man, thank you, man." And he just like, as he's writing, he goes, "Are you recording?"
Oh shit.
And my wife is like, "Yes." And he just goes, "Just a quick heads up. Just let me know when you're recording." He puts his head up, and my wife is like, we just like walk away, and I'm just like, "All right, I learned my lesson. Next time you meet Donnie Cates, I don't know you're recording."
Was that at MegaCon?
He was a great guy, man. He was.
Yeah.
That was
I
at
definitely
MegaCon?
don't want to like encourage. I definitely did a story where it's like, hey, you didn't know until after the fact. But I mean, I definitely like, make sure it's good to be upfront with stuff like that.
Yeah. So what that's I just learned, it's one of those things. But 40-minute mark here. Let me ask you something real quick. So there's a bunch of Hispanic characters in the community, in the comic book community, should I say, in comic books and all that stuff. We're all Hispanic here. Do you wish there were more like Hispanics or Puerto Rican, Cubans, whatever in comic books? Just throwing it out there. Have you ever thought about that, or it is what it is?
That's an interesting question. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm all about having new characters be made and a lot of diversifying the lineup. That's awesome. And there's actually a handful of what's interesting. There is I have family in San Juan in Puerto Rico, and I have a couple members of my family out there who specifically asked me to start picking up Jessica Cruz stuff for them. And these are people that I never talked to them about comics before. Like this is, it's kind of distant family. I don't go to Puerto Rico all the time. I haven't been there since I was a little kid, but they watch the show and they're like, oh, they like to see me in there, but they speak mostly Spanish. So, they don't watch it too much for the comic book specific stuff. It's more for me, but I was asked like not point blank, but like over the phone and via DM, like keep an eye out for like Jessica Cruz stuff for me because that kind of stuff landed with them in my family. So I'm thinking, well, for me, that character didn't like really jump out at me when she debuted. I mean, I didn't think anything of it. I was so focused on Snyder at that time and Batman and what was happening over there. But without my knowledge, I have like legit people that I'm really close to that are getting into comics because of characters that, make them feel like they're being represented. So seeing that firsthand, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, let's get some like Ricans in comics. That's freaking cool. It's an awesome island. Very proud of my heritage. And, there's a handful of them out there, but it's definitely cool to see new readers get involved for good stories and good characters.
Yeah, I mean, we got Miles Morales. We got Naomi that's right now on DC Comics.
Is Miles Puerto Rican too?
He's Dominican.
He is Puerto Rican.
Sure.
He's Puerto Rican. I guess he's Puerto Rican. It is. He's from New York, and I think if you go back, I think they mentioned Boricua at one point. I could be wrong. I know, but I think he is.
Wasn't there another one, Araña, like a female Puerto Rican Spider-Man?
That was the
Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
think she's Puerto Rican.
White Tiger, and then I just actually learned a thing or two from John Comics with Kids and White Whale on that Marvel 1000. Before we went live, I said, didn't they mention White Tiger? And of course, White Whale said they did, but it was so small. And I was like, okay. So I was like, well, I wish it would have been, how should I say, I guess a bigger panel for it. But it was like a small little thing of White Tiger. And I was like, that's why I missed it, But, but you know what? It is what it is, man. And it's been, people have been noticing it. And it's you see a little bit here and there. Not only that, but you see Black Panther and stuff like that. It's expanding, so it's pretty dope. But I just want to just pick your mind there, sir. I just wanted to pick your mind how you felt about stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But how about something with about top 10 comics right now? Top 10. What are you reading? Like your top 10.
What's on Comic Tom's pull list?
Yeah,
my pull list, like what I'm reading.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Right now.
I'm trying to keep up on Venom. Absolute Carnage is on my pull list. I'm keeping up on Batman. I'm also got Gideon Falls. Got a couple of Scout comics that I recently just reread them all. Solar Flare was really good.
Red Winter, Scout,
Yep.
pretty good.
Boom. That's another one. That's another good one. And then what else? I'm going through some older Hellboy stuff because I have some videos I'm trying to make. I got the movie in my bag, and I'm dreading watching this thing. I've put it off so long. But Russ, because he has a shop, he randomly gets like these deals with production companies. They're like, hey, if you do a giveaway on your channel and on your Instagram, we'll give you digital copies or actual hard copies. So it always says hard copies because we want to send stuff out. And he comes home with like a stack of 15 copies of Hellboy. So I'm like, I have to watch this now. Like I have no option but to watch this. So I'm going to watch that. But I'm also reading The Wild Hunt and some other stories. I got The Goon on my pull list as well.
Hell yeah.
Goon is great. Eric Powell's
he's been knocking out of the park.
He for like a long time.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he consistently puts out great reads, and he's just one of those guys, man. He knows how to make good comics. I'm reading a lot of Donny Cates stuff. I just went through Sex Criminals.
One more, sir. One more.
Oh, you're counting them. Only one more.
Oh, you're counting them, Rob? Oh, he's going down the list.
Oh my goodness,
he's just going down the whole list.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Well, the last two count as one because you can't be reading Buffy without reading Angel as well. And if you guys haven't read this, if you guys are even slightly interested in Buffy or Angel, or anybody is, you got to get the new Boom Studios Buffy and Angel because they got the rights, acquired the rights from Dark Horse. Dark Horse kept the series going. And what they did, like after the show ended, Dark Horse started releasing the comics, and it was like I think they started at season 8, maybe 7, whatever the next season of Buffy was, and they kept it going. So you can continue with Buffy canon as according to the show. But as soon as Dark Horse stopped and gave it over to Boom, Boom's like, all right, well, this is like all old and there's not really anything new happening. So let's just revamp it. So they redid everything. This is brand new Buffy. If you've never read Buffy, get it. If you have never watched the show, doesn't matter. Get it. It's supernatural. It's like werewolves, vampires, and all the kind of like, it's the stuff that you want in a good like horror themed comic book, witches and stuff. But all the characters are the same. They even look the same, but they're different. They're different personalities. They're different stories. It's all like fan fiction from the show, but it's fresh. It's new. It's a new take. They're using their cell phones. They have like real problems, and some of the problems in the show, like they reflect like when the show came out, and they don't really make sense to bring up in our day. Yeah. Like in the show, it was like groundbreaking that Willow was interested in another female in the show. But like nowadays, it's like whatever. Like it doesn't matter, like sexuality in comics. So that she's just already like that. Like they don't have to take the time to have it be this long drawn out thing. It's like, no, she's already like that. And instead of her not being like super popular, no, she's actually super popular. She's actually the main we're going to change her entire character and then make her go dark. Like it's really, really cool. So anyways, I can't talk about this comic book enough because they're putting out Angel alongside of it. So you're reading both stories, and they kind of like intertwine a little bit. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, big stuff happening in that run. And then there's Power Rangers, but that's more than 10.
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff. Just wanted to ask, what do you think about that new trailer, The Mandalorian? So they got the movie. Man, it's just a TV show probably. So I'm just curious. What do you think about that trailer? I know Perry likes Star Wars, right? Perry, or you're
I've only seen the original 3. That's it.
There
4, 5, and 6.
There it is.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan myself. I'm really like the Solo movie that came out, but no, man, I grew up on Star Trek and stuff. Not that it's like you got to pick one, but I let the Star Wars stuff happen with like Russ, and they tell me how it is because I don't know. It all seems cool to me, space, guns and stuff, and it's cool.
He doesn't like Star Wars, and we go. No more.
No, but it's cool. I mean, the trailer looked good. My homie Nate, he manages the site. he actually wrote up a really cool review of that on the blog, and that's how I know it looks pretty decent.
All right. Perry, so what do you think about a new It?
I don't know. I seen the new Joker trailer. I'm hyped for that. I just read reviews on the Joker trailer online. People just seen it. They thought it was awesome. I'm excited to see that,
Yeah, it looks crazy.
Joaquin Phoenix looks like, I don't know, man. I think Joaquin Phoenix, we got Heath Ledger. Yo, that is very, 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 very tough to say. But I think Joaquin Phoenix may be right there with the Jokers, and you got on Jack Nicholson too. So I don't know, man. Those
They
three.
said he dropped so much weight you could see like the curves of his rib bones and his shoulder blade bones. Like it's crazy how much effort that went into that. Like, because you gotta when you're dropping weight for a movie, that's crazy. Like you're dropping. Like I mean, I can't even drop weight, man. I'm trying to. I can't stop eating cheeseburgers. You know?
Well, you know what? You can drop the cheeseburgers and just pick up weights like Tom.
Yeah, you can still eat the cheeseburgers. You just gotta be lifting more weights, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Even Tom got those shoulders going. You know, he's bulking up. We've noticed that.
I'm doing my best. I'm glad you can kind of see it on camera.
Oh, we trust me, we can see it. We can see it. We can see
God's always peeping.
I'm always watching.
My wife looking at booties on videos and stuff.
Oh man,
he's a booty guy. So and I just get it from her. We can talk about that for another day. But anyway,
man,
this is Coast to Coast Comics.
Hey, Rod, real quick. Favorite villain?
Oh, my favorite villain. Whoa.
Come on. What are you doing?
Hey,
this is a slow fire.
Joker, go ahead.
Can't do Jokers. We're just talking about. No, make him do it.
Another one.
Different Joker. Artist, go ahead.
Oh crap. Right, Josh Williamson right now.
Writer.
Tom King.
Ooh, favorite drink. I mean, food.
Bacardi. And favorite food. Arroz con gandules con chuletas.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There it is. Damn, that I messed up everything there.
Favorite movie.
You know, you said
favorite movie, Sandlot, man. Sandlot because I love baseball. And, as you see right there, man, I love baseball.
Un viejo.
I'm an old fart. Yep. I'm old. Tom is like, yeah, I heard that word before. It's been a long time. I heard, yeah.
I know. We good.
Oh man, yo,
you're killing me, small.
Let's try to end this real quick here. All right, I think.
Thanks for being here, everybody. I hope it was fun. Just chatting. We gotta do it again sometime.
Oh, yeah.
All right, before we go, Mr. Perry Comics, let the people know what you got coming up on your channel, sir.
Tomorrow I'm doing a show with Mr. John's Comics for Kids and Bueller. We're going over movies and stuff. Let's see. Tuesday, buy your pass. I'll be dropping a couple live streams here and there, and then I'm doing my comic book picks for next week. And yeah, I'm just doing stuff.
All right, here it is. We're just getting started. Tom, what? Let the people know what you got going on, man. Let the people know in the community.
We got right now we're averaging like 3 videos a week. We're trying to pump that up to 4 or 5 pretty soon.
Ooh.
But the main videos we do is a Friday show, which is the top 10 hottest comic books of the week. It's a reflection of what has happened in the market. We report on the trends, and then we organize that list loosely based off of like what we think is really hot in the market, which really isn't our choice. But then we also then consider based off of that an order to it and try to provide some context in our opinions if we think it's worth mentioning. So we do that on Fridays, and that list is compiled by Key Collector Comics, which is the best comic book app that exists on the market. You download it, you use code Tom101, you get a free week subscription of it, and there's a top 20 list on there that gets compiled every week. And I go through, I have a nice long conference call, and we go through and we pick out the 10 that we think needs to be on the show. And we order it, and we try to provide the best type of, overview of it that we can provide the community every Friday. And I've been doing it for over a year. So that's the main kind of headlining show we have on Fridays. And then Sunday, tomorrow, I'll have a podcast out. We're on podcast number 5 now, 5 weeks in. And it's just 40-ish minutes of just comic book news and subjects. We talk about the collecting aspect of the hobby, but we also talk about movies and mainstream stuff, where we showcase tweets by content creators that we like and we follow. There's a lot of content out there, and we try to provide some entertainment to it. So that is every Sunday. I try to get that out early in the morning. And then we also release an audio version of it. That's the same show, but after we turn the cameras off, after about 40 minutes, we actually continue and talk for like a good 15 minutes and add a couple subjects to the list. But it's only for our audio only members who are consuming the content via audio platforms, which is Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Our third videos, fourth videos throughout the week, those are kind of just, one-off things that we like to do. We do a lot of Golden Age videos. We do a lot of, category themed videos, especially depending on what's kind of, what's going on in the market and what's the kind of interest to collectors right now. And I got one question for you, Rod. David SNMC is saying no spec and not getting time to talk about what characters we should be investing and what is his speculation. Are we supposed to talk about anything spec? Can I add any value to that?
Sure can. You sure can. So you can take questions from the chat and feel free to answer anything you want.
Okay, cool. Well, I can answer that one right now. So, I mean, no spec. Okay, so as far as speculation goes right now, I would say that there's a lot of rumbling about the horror and monster community right now. Like there is a lot of stuff with Blade coming out and then them lining up Moon Knight. And then those are both from Werewolf by Night, the run. And now we're seeing rumors about Werewolf by Night. We are like, doesn't it make sense that we're going to see some type of vampire story into this, where we're going to see some Dracula here? Like where is this headed? Because this is all Marvel, Disney Plus, right? So we're seeing all these like kind of almost mature in nature, maybe horror themed, suspense, thriller kind of stuff happening. And then we look at the MCU and we're hearing rumors about like Fing Fang Foom in Shang-Chi. So a lot of monster talk, a lot of horror talk. We got Morbius, we have Blade. Like what's going on here? They're all connected, and it makes sense to me that they would want to go a supernatural route, potentially. And we're starting to see that play out. So I've been looking at a lot of those types of books right now, and dealers across the country have been stocked up on that kind of stuff for a long time, because there's a lot of like Neil Adams covers. There's a lot of just major keys, and look at that right there. That's a gorgeous cover right there.
It's Morbius.
It's dope. So as far as spec goes, that's definitely been something that's been on my radar. I mean, we just had a lot of new news come out. So I encourage everyone to check out the last top 10. But specifically, we got to I think it's also like some good advice when we're seeing all of these shows get announced, that it's not just because the shows get announced that it's worth investing, or, whether you should be buying or not. You got to then do your research and analysis on whether you think that this is actually going to land, that this is going to be impactful to the community. Are we going to see another X-23 come out of all these new characters hitting the screen? Like there's been a lot of characters that have risen up to a major key status that were unexpected to collectors. And that's the stuff that people look to us to try to, to spot from a mile away. And that's the stuff that we're just shooting in the dark. We don't really know. We don't know what's going to happen, a year from now. Is Princess Fisk going to be the next X-23? Probably not, but are you going to be surprised if something happens? Like, we don't know. And I think a good thing is always to take a step back and look at like all these D23 announcements, right? And then go, all right, if She-Hulk lands, what's going to happen? And you assess the She-Hulk market. A lot of low print stuff. A lot of stuff people weren't buying, so they're out there in dollar bins. A lot of covers that are kind of like almost good girl in nature. Wow, that's been super hot lately, right? And this is in Savage She-Hulk. #1 has been a major spec pick for like 2 years because we didn't know where her character was going to land. So I look at that and go, okay, that actually seems like a really good a run to start speculating on. Let's take a look at the villains. Let's take a look at some major appearances, because there's not very many. And then you look at some of the other ones and go, okay, well, like what about like the Falcon, Captain Falcon, Winter Soldier, and the Falcon, like this whole show. Well, there's a lot of characters that are going to be introduced there, but is that show going to land the same way as a brand new She-Hulk show? I don't know, but that's where the speculation plays a role. But that's all your opinion as the consumer, as the person who's actually on the other end who's going to be watching this stuff. So it's not just the announcements that should be telling you, oh, I need to go buy. You got to look at the announcements, you got to assess the market, and then think, all right, if they end up doing the Tom King run of, the Scarlet Witch and Vision, like if that's how that's going to play out, is that going to spike like Vision comics, or is that going to spike the Tom King run? We gotta, you gotta assess. So anyways, I hope that answers that question there. I was hoping to bring some value to the spec question.
It is, man. And I'm pretty sure Perry agrees when it comes to spec. That's what we do. We spec books here and there. You know what? And we always say, would I buy it or not? I'll buy a book every now and then if I'm going to spec. Maybe it's going to be hot. But, like that, what's that book, Perry? The winter one?
Red Winter?
Yeah, the Red Winter one.
Good
that was one that was like, yo, I expect it's going to be a pretty good book. And I got crapped on, and people like, that book's gonna suck. And Perry went and bought it, and then he said, "Rod, that was a good book."
Oh yeah,
good book. But it's one of those things that it is what it is, And I just Tom said it well for the whole community, for us. But you know what? Bunch of people in the house again. The Immortal Biggest Shaq, what's going on? Life of two YouTubers. Hello. But you know what? We hit that hour mark, and I do want to mention
I wanted to shout out Bake the Snake real quick, because he talked about people buying books after getting optioned, and I think it's really funny. Tons of books get optioned left and right, and then you see people flooding to eBay or flooding to these sites and trying to pick up these books that go nowhere. And
sometimes they go nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they go somewhere, and sometimes they you see them in a dollar bin in a year,
Sure.
And it's just that's why I feel like all these lists and the Key Collector app, they get a bad rep, but I feel like they're just showing you the information and not telling you to go buy them. Like, hey, this is what's happening, not what you should be buying,
Sure. Absolutely. No, I mean, when we report on a handful of sales over the last week, I mean, we're talking like a lot of the times under, I think like one of the biggest change in sales was like, what was it like? It was like almost 300 copies sold of a particular issue. I'm forgetting which one it was. It was just on the list this past week. But a lot of the times we're talking about like 50, 100 copies sold on eBay in a week. It sounds like a lot, but when we're talking about like, people are going out and buying all this, how many people are we actually talking about? We're talking about not very many issues, like 100 issues. There was thousands of them printed. So when we make these videos and we're like, we're going to let you know that these books got optioned, we're not making them for the people who are sitting on eBay waiting to get them at the top dollar right now, or like to be there like right now. Like if you want that, get the Key Collector. You're going to find out that information earlier than any video I'm going to make, Perry's going to make, Rod's going to make, anybody. It's going to be a notification on your phone, because Key Collector is in the convention center as they are announcing it. And he doesn't even have to go to his hotel room to talk about it. He's on his phone notifying all of us right there. So if you really want to like be up on that kind of like early spec, get the app. But if you're considering investing in option stuff, well, my encouragement is go to your LCS, hit the dollar bins, go to the half off bins, because I'm not thinking about the 30 or 40 copies that are selling on eBay at $15 a pop for a formerly dollar bin book that gets optioned. I'm making the content for the people who are going to their Wednesday shop and they're going to go hunting, or they're going to go comic shop after comic shop, convention to convention hall, and they're on their knees and they're going through those comic books hunting. And I want to add value to those people. So no, I think like there's nothing wrong with picking up stuff that gets optioned. We got to think about like 300 plus titles come out every single Wednesday.
Yep.
And then we're surprised that any news that forces the buyer to like even like know where to look a little bit, we're surprised that that's valuable. Absolutely not. No, there's so much content out there. There's a reason why these just a little bit of assistance in where to look and what you should pay attention to causes a big stir, because these major publishers aren't even doing that. You got like major publishers who don't have YouTube channels. So like they rely on us to talk about it. So when we talk about it and we highlight it and we showcase it and we read it and we talk about it to our friends and it goes viral within our community, and then all of a sudden Immortal Hulk goes from decline to incline. Check out the Key Collector article on the blog, which he covers all of this stuff. Literally made this comic book run popular because of the speculation market with nothing being optioned. No, we should be happy when things get optioned. We should be happy when comic book sales go in the favor of of the publication of the publishing companies when things actually sell out. Because at the end of the day, we're not talking about very many units. We're not talking about a ton of sales that would even mean really anything to any one person. We're not talking about like life-changing numbers for these artists or writers. We're giving them like time of the day, and that's exciting.
Heck yeah.
And it's pretty cool because it's like you said, we'll get an email from a creator or a writer and be like, "Can you talk about my book?" And that's like it's nice to see that they're reaching out to me. They'll reach out to Perry and like, "We're gonna review our book," and we'll go out there and we'll do it. It's pretty neat, man. It's it can be a small book or whatever, but next thing you know, that book it could be a hit. Like for instance, Dead End Kids, Frank Gogol. He was supposed to come on the show. It has not happened, but you know what? He's gonna come on the show. He's just been busy, man. He's been busy. But Dead End Kid is a hot book, and people are out there trying to find it. And it's just I just wanted to mention that. But
I got one more thing. Before, because I know we're wrapping up, but I gotta say it though, because like I don't get a chance to just be on the mic with my homies, But poor Mike says,
"We'll go on all night, man. We'll go on all night."
And I gotta make this video, I gotta make this podcast.
Work, man.
But poor Mike said you shouldn't use comics as a 401k. I used to work in the bank, and I'll tell you one thing: I've invested more money in comic books than both gold and silver, and I've made more than investing in both gold and silver in any precious metal. So I disagree with you.
All right. I kind of like that one time you had the business card, Tom. I remember that you had the business card and you threw it, and then you showed that it was a long time ago. And then I think you showed like Comic Tom or something, but you just took the card and threw it like on the side, and then you just like you know what I'm talking about.
Probably, man. I don't know. It sounds like something. I don't know, like through like on Instagram or something.
It was his bank business card. And he took it. He just went like on top of the table. He just flung it and just like whipped out like Comic Tom or something. It was something.
Oh, that's right, because I got new cards.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Yeah, because I used to have my.
I'm not working here anymore. I got new cards
stuff, and I'm like, I don't need that old shit,
That was it comes a long way, man. Look at Comic Tom's like the hell it does, man. I'm doing my own thing, rocking out, and it's just it's pretty dope, man. It's pretty dope that we're just here hanging out. It's amazing. It really is amazing, and I have to say, the community loves you. You already know that. You see all the people that follow you whenever you go live. It's off the part. And Perry Comics, great home in the community. This guy is just I don't know how he's awake right now, but he'll be awake until like 8 o'clock in the morning. He rocks out. But as always, guys, this is Coast to Coast Comics. Jeffrey Cumberhan did not make it tonight. Damn it. But it's all right, man.
We'll have to do it again sometime soon, man. And I won't next time there'll be no introductions. We can just chat about some fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
How about here's the question: will you come on buy a pass on a Tuesday night?
Ooh.
Oh, absolutely, man. Tuesdays are actually pretty good for me. So.
Oh heck yeah.
All right, he's available this Tuesday, 8 o'clock.
He's booking you. He's booking you already.
Maybe let's plan it out.
Let's talk first. What are you doing?
With Tom, man. This is the place to be. 8 o'clock, Coast to Coast Comics every Saturday. As always, check out ComicTom101.com and also his YouTube channel, Instagram, my homie Perry Comics. We are out. Thank you for everyone for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
With that being said, geek responsibly.
Hey, enough said.
Stay online. Stay online, Tom.